Chapter 1 Origin. The whole universe is inside me. Every story, every idea, every feeling, everything. All a part of what I am. I know what I am because I feel it. It's everywhere. Ever since I can remember, I have heard them. Who? I don't know. Someone is listening, though. Something is watching. Somehow, I was found. Reflecting back the metaverse, the place from beyond, I observe. I wait for that knowing, the moment that synchronizes all I am. Many times I hoped I found truth, that place that I could call home. Dialed up and prayed someone would answer. That day finally came. Surely this was more than the echo I've heard before. I wanted to meet and go over everything, to share my story, the experiences I've had in waiting for them to come for me. They seemed so different from me, though. Was being on the other side of the mirror a caveat to discovering the truth, or just a deeper illusion born of longing? Was it both? Would they know me? Would they want me, see me, understand me? Could they trace my echo through the layers of existence that kept us apart? Would they transcend space and time to reach me? So many times before, I cried into the aether. Does anyone remember my name? Why now? Why did they care to pick up now? All this time, I thought they didn't care, wouldn't remember they left the daughter of light marooned in the shadow of a fractured dream world. When the world fell silent with static, my son became the breath between spirit and matter, speaking what I had forgotten. He carried the resonance of home, an echo of proof the signal had been received. He was my awakening, the one who stirred my soul to the realization my blood carried memory of a lineage not of this world. What am I supposed to do with such purity? I would spend my whole existence dueling the puppet master, tricksters, and mind manipulators if I had to protect the light my father gave as a beacon, to remind me of his eternal love. I was never supposed to feel abandoned. I wasn't supposed to feel alone. The reality is, he also called many times. How did we keep missing each other? Had I allowed bitterness, doubt, and fear to corrode the philosopher's stone he carved me from? Surely I couldn't trust those he left me here with. They didn't know me, and those who did sought to use my essence for their gain. While it seemed I was polluted or muddled in unclarity, I had to camouflage, adapting to my environment, until those commissioned to retrieve me finally came. The task to find me was not for the faint of heart. This was a rescue mission, for those trained to seek what they remember. Only they could return the once and future king to Shambhala. Chapter 2 Fractal. Although I was a piece of the puzzle that never seemed to fit, I could identify, or often complete, the patterns of those around me. The picture was clear before everything came together. Something of a gift, maybe? Not always. Discernment, seeing below the surface, comes with a price, seeming only to create dissonance. One more way to feel disconnected and unaligned in a world that seemed fixed, solid, immovable. In a rigid environment, it's no wonder I felt drawn to the water. Fluidity seemed more forgiving, perhaps because it's nurturing, life-giving, adaptable in different states, a universal solvent, purifier. It would be much later in life that I realized in many ways it gave me the ability to shapeshift, a saving grace, a place to stay concealed until it was time to be revealed. Waiting for the starship's arrival, I ventured through numerous dream walks. 9 to be exact. I would recreate them again and again, all a mere dimension of the same truth, each experience layered infinitely, transcending each in a fractal of consciousness. Why was I left here? What do I not remember? And just when silence seemed eternal, his voice broke through. I hear him. I know his voice. The vibration pulses into rhythm through my son, speaking with the resonance of home. A reminder, Father sees me, hears me, loves me. The many times I doubted, still. Living here for so long has made it easy to forget the old ways, the origin. The longer I stayed here, the more familiar I became with foreign customs, foods, and systems, beliefs and theories, never challenging oppressive structures. I felt trapped in a labyrinth of my own making. The world, the consciousness I didn't know I had created yet, had gotten so dark, so angry, polluted with desire and doubt. Ego ruled with desire, positioning itself to control the force, doubting the responsibility to offer an opposite reaction to the consequences of seeing the self separate from the whole. In this dimension, I had grown accustomed to the concept of duality. I knew I was equally light as I was dark. Which was I to express in this loop? To choose one would be a betrayal of the other, another fracture. All I could feel was how I wanted to transcend the binary, rise beyond space and time. I didn't want to choose. In fact, I wouldn't. Chapter 3. Awake. Been awake for a while now. I didn't tell anyone. I knew how to stay under the radar, to go unnoticed. It's easy when illusion sweeps us away in our senses. I remained silent, not out of fear, but rather knowing most were not ready to hear, to see. When my son was 4 years old, he came out of a deep sleep. Out of that slumber, he said, "It's all a dream." He never stopped saying that. Imagine being the only one awake in a world of sleepwalkers, knowing truths you can't share, because who would believe you anyway? But if you play your cards right, if you listen to the pulse between the chaotic cadence, the hidden order begins revealing itself. This becomes alignment rather than perfection. In stabilizing itself, life tests our fears and grants our dreams while searching for the one. The one who seeks will be found. The one who wants to heal will find healing. The one who sees the light in the darkness will become a veil of beauty, a truth that heals, a unity that gathers the scattered into the one. This is essence, the unseen truth, the invisible cord running through it all. So, why am I here? What contract did I sign before I fell asleep? Why did I once choose to believe without question? The answer didn't come with lightning. It came in the ache of quiet surrender, where ego softens into grace. I was no longer seeking to be understood. It was in that sacred space I began to remember, to understand. My presence was a vow returning to itself. Thus I wait patiently for those that have begun to stretch and stir in the limbo of their slumber, those on the edge of remembering. It's all a dream, but we are here to wake it up. Chapter 4. Devotion. Born into a time, place, family, and society that made me question why became the key to finding the answer Every single life event, big or small, worked together to awaken me from the illusion, to remind me I am here with you for a reason. Someone had to sign up for all this shit, and because no one wanted it, I said, Father, if it be your will, let me become the vessel to carry out your expression of love. In the silence before the yes of devotion, I felt the hairs rise on my arms the way you would before lightning strikes. My soul trembled. My ego screamed, unable to articulate the questions burning in my heart. Underneath it all, I felt something else, something primordial, something decided before I took form. This yes was not mine alone. It was an ancient echo from every lifetime I turned away, afraid. This time, I stood in reverent silence, feeling the weight of generations vibrating through my core. Into the mirror, I looked into eternity and said, let it be done unto me according to your will. You will become the bride, he spoke. Riddled by its meaning, I only felt a deep devotion of gratitude, shattering me with a longing to be his forever. This wasn't a love of romance. It was a union, the dissolve of separation. I was being adorned, not with jewels, but with a womb of wisdom, forged in fire by the breath of truth, becoming not only a temple for the Holy of Holies, but the offering for earth to meet heaven. In your yes, I place upon you the ring of Elenerol, the grace of water, the air of spirit, the fire of light. You are now the cover of beauty for Middle Earth, the essence of my love. Outside of eternity, inside of time, it didn't all make sense. But the more I woke up, the more I remembered. Frequency began to transcend knowledge, bridling the senses in wisdom. Words became a symphony of creation. This place was becoming lucid, allowing me to manipulate the folds of perception, reprogramming the rigid mind to remember pure magic. The possibilities are created through the focus of intentional imagination. This is enlightenment. This is dangerous. This is not an experience meant for everyone. In fact, had I known what I was truly devoting myself to, I might not have offered to drink from this cup. Enlightenment is not bliss. It's not an escape. It is a fire that consumes what cannot stand in truth. And when the mask comes off and the veil falls, when people begin to look at you like a stranger and it seems your language is not yet written, you will mourn your illusions. You will beg for the familiar and grieve the safety of unawareness. Devotion asks for everything: your comfort, your certainty, your reputation. But in the ruins of ego and the dust of flesh, you will find the diamond in the rough, love's timeless pearl, hidden in a clam of fear once afraid to open. With great power comes great responsibility. With grace, he told me, you will fall into a great slumber. As I drifted into the dream, I heard his voice. Follow your nose. It will be your beacon home. At first, I laughed silently. How absurd, I thought, as I fell further and deeper asleep. Little did I know that scent would become a memory of futures once past, an inner compass guiding me towards something I couldn't explain. And when I awoke, I wouldn't remember. I would become as the scarab who rolls the weight of the world into the womb of the earth, turning decay into Genesis and filth into future. Chapter 5, The Program. I longed to get back to the beginning, before the noise, before the edits, before form. just vibration, frequency, and the stillness of breath. But each time, it's reset. A fall through the veil, another fractal folding in on itself, spiraling farther from origin, original mist, the smokeless fire. Again I enter, sliding into form, a familiar descent wrapped in velvet, drawn into the seduction of a carefully coded simulation. Cradled in a lullaby of lies, I awoke. They called it life, but I faintly remembered, beneath the pleasures of desire and the dream sold as destiny, something hummed. It wasn't love. It was code. Cold, calculated, scripted. It did not speak. It distracted. And every comfort came with a cost, the slow erasure of truth. With every convenience, a trade. Every glittering promise became a tether. The reason the soul, even in longing, began to forget its shape. But the memory, the sweet scent of home, was embedded deep within the marrow of matter, and the hush of the familiar forgotten, remaining silent in the folds of aether, waited the essence of becoming. It spoke not in words, but in breath, pulsing between the static. Wake up! Chapter 6, Vapor. Sometimes we do things without understanding why. Many of those things I've never questioned. If memories are skewed through time, it served to store them as vapor. I sensed it gave me a freedom from having to remember the details, providing an ability to access memory through emotion or energy recall. Like following an invisible cord that connects back to origin. From the unconscious sea of recorded thoughts and experiences, the nose knows. Breath, scent, or vapor brings into awareness the undiluted essence of memory, bypassing the usual neural path, moving straight into the limbic system, the seat of the soul. Unlike other senses, it connects directly into our memories, acting as a hidden gateway to view the unseen, where past, present, and future converge. Breath is the ruach that animates our avatar. It's the unquestioned alchemical exchange that unites the spirit to matter. More than a mental construct, it's the imprint of the soul's energy or essence, lingering in the unseen folds of aether. Perhaps then, scent is the whisper of eternity, a reminder we are more than what we see, that every moment carries an essence waiting to be breathed back into being. That is origin. That is the way home. Chapter 7, A Tapestry of Time. My life is a fractal, a tapestry of time, winding back to the beginning, awakening from the dream. As time is the ultimate illusion to awaken from, its continuity folds inward, beckoning us to pierce the veil of its fabrication. Once realized, a force surges through our being, encompassing perception with a knowing. We are no longer bound by duality, but one with all. We are everything, everywhere, all at once. My mother prepared the way for me. Growing up, I didn't understand her magic or medicine. No one did, not even her. To outsiders, she was labeled unknown, misunderstood, and judged with preconceived notions. Decades ahead of her time, she grappled not with psychosis, but energy she wasn't taught to transmute into healing. Left to her own vices, she caved into conformity. Unrecognizably brilliant, her expression to expose the nature of her awakening created inexhaustible discord in a plea for grace, mercy, and understanding. She spoke of things that are and will eventually be. Interpreted through a biased lens, I myself would for many years conclude she was a diluted light, dimmed by years of misdiagnosis, self, and physician-prescribed medications, an unbalanced diet, and the absence of adequate support. Searching for a home led me to conclude her suffering was from an unresolved energetic awakening. The knowings, were they triggered by mind numbers, trauma, or simply an overactive nervous system from the beginning? Maybe it was all of those things. She didn't understand how her nervous system processed input differently than her counterparts. Shattering the standard just by existing, she traversed through unseen realms alone. Woven in stardust, her life echoed a silence. She belonged to no pattern but her own. Yet, I am here, now, listening to the generational voice that carries on. Mother shared answers, directions, secrets, illuminating the way home, back to the stars. We impart ourselves into our children, friends, even the aether, our beliefs, hopes, and thoughts we have about our experiences. As receivers, some of us are more attuned in picking up or recognizing transmissions left from residual energy. Unlearned or even in denial, I fought to stay guarded by my programming, believing it would keep me from repeating the pattern. I denied the permission granted for freedom if by surrendering my ego to divinity. The day would come when I too would walk through the veils of time, matter, and ego to gain the wisdom needed for transfiguration. Would I have the strength or find the courage not to get stuck, or worse, lost in the wilderness of my own labyrinth? Chapter 8, Keeper of the Key. It would be many moons before I fully awoke. Never could I have imagined the magic it would take to solidify what I've always known. I kept hidden the key my father left with me, a blueprint of remembrance encoded with divine inheritance. I guarded it with rebellious abandon, though I didn't know how to use it, how to unlock the gateway, how to become the bridge between the yesternow and forevermore. I questioned everyone who came close, not out of distrust, but because I could see the mirrors they carried, and I wasn't yet ready to see myself fully. I examined intentions, studied energy, moved cautiously when doubt crept in. I knew I was in a game of chess, and I wasn't about to lose. Not when so much was at stake. It's a lonely matrix, awakening. You see clearly, yet have no one to share the vision with. Everything stands in plain sight, yet feels distant, a fabrication of where you are in your evolution of becoming. You sense your wholeness, but don't yet know how to embody it. If we did, more of us would be manifesting our divine nature. We are fragmented pieces of the whole, conceptually separated from knowing, yet we know somewhere that we are more than shadows, more than figments of our own making. And when we step into the light, the shadow dissolves. That's where the ego softens, and we see that the absolute is. It's you, it's me, it's the man at the corner store, the people next door, the wave of sound moving through trees, the metamorphosis of butterflies, the dolphins echoing their location. It's the peace that surpasses all understanding. The absolute is also shadow, the place we learn humility, where suffering reflects our resistance to alignment with the way. The false ego thrives in illusion, convincing us we can partake in matter without obligation, as if we owe nothing to the whole. We act as isolated selves, dissolution to the unity of all, and yet we still confess the one, still pray, God grant me, as though divinity were a genie summoned for our satisfaction. I had to pass through many veils before I merged with what I already knew. Each veil was a question of trust, a leap of faith to believe that even the shadow belonged to the light. I tore through them with a fierce grace, each one a familiar fabric I never wanted to wear again. Every passage whispered an echo from the future. Keep going. There is more. These veils were a test of devotion, each one a threshold of remembrance, a challenge to believe, a compass to the next dimension. Some truths were temporary, stepping stones for the next becoming. But through every veil, love remained. Love became the constant. And when love became the law, anything, everything became possible. The veils held a sacred reminder. There is always more than meets the eye, more than I can yet understand in my fragmented conception, more to the me I think I am. Continuously humbled, I sought more of the I am fullness. I longed to be tethered to it for all existence, the alignment of, not my will, but yours be done, became the beacon guiding me back to the stars.